For 10 days, James Nestor lived, breathed, ate, exercised, and slept with his nose completely blocked, with silicone plugs jammed up both his nostrils and closed up tight with surgical tape for good measure. This would make him breathe exclusively through his mouth for the entire period of 10 days. All his parameters like heart rate, blood pressure, oxygen levels, blood biochemicals were being monitored regularly. This was phase 1. In phase 2, the plugs would be removed and he would follow the exact routine of the first phase, including what he ate each day and what he did for exercise and the time he went to bed. This time, he would stick his lips together with a piece of surgical tape at bedtime to ensure that he only breathes through his nose and not through his mouth. Again, all parameters would be monitored. Not only had he volunteered to do this, but he had also paid $5,000 to participate in this experiment conducted at Stanford University, along with a Swedish friend, Anders Olsen. What they found as a result of this experiment will astound you. Breath is a non-fiction popular science book written after more than a decade of research by journalist and author James Nestor. This is one episode I recommend you watch till the end because it will open your eyes and your nose and give a new meaning to the words "shut your mouth." Let's switch on the reading lamp. Hello, I'm Savri, and on this channel, The Reading Lamp, I review books and talk about reading in general. Today, I'll give you the details of the publisher, etc. at the end. We are going to dive straight into what the book is about. This is a unique book, as in you can't really spoil it. Still, I'll tell you only enough for you to know why it's a must-read, but nothing that will spoil your enjoyment of reading it. So, no worry, just
the cover story.
The Stanford experiment I mentioned at the beginning is one part of the larger story of this book. It basically highlights the importance of breathing through the nose, hence the shut your mouth. Almost all of his adult life, James Nestor suffered from a congested nose, seasonal allergies, snoring, and seemed likely to develop sleep apnea at some point. He happened to attend a class of breathing exercises developed by an Indian teacher. Just one session shook him up so much that he kept going back for more sessions. The drastic changes and effects he observed within himself at the physical, physiological, and psychological levels blew his mind. Being a research-oriented journalist, he decided to deep dive into the subject of breathing and understand what exactly was happening to him. In the process, he spoke to a wide range of scientists, doctors, breathing experts, practitioners of both ancient and modern traditions, and numerous others like athletes, freedivers, and even catophiles, the people who illegally explore the vast network of underground quarries and catacombs in Paris. The book encapsulates years of research, his own experiments, the experiences of a vast number of experts and practitioners, and knowledge from medical and ancient literature. It is a scientific adventure into the lost science and art of breathing. Here are my top 5 reasons for recommending this book to you.
Speaking my mind.
Number 1. The Impeccable Research. James Nestor has used a mix of scientific, experiential, and historical research tools in the writing of this book. He has spent years preparing for this book. He conducted first-hand experiments on his own body, like the Stanford Sinus Study. He kept meticulous logs of all his experiments and the parameters he observed. He conducted deep research into scientific literature right from ancient texts like Sanskrit texts on yoga and pranayam, Tibetan Buddhist texts, ancient Taoist breathing manuals from China, as well as the latest modern medical and scientific literature. He conducted hundreds of interviews and field reports traveling widely to talk to experts and observe breathing practices in real contexts. For example, he spent a lot of time with free divers from Greece, many of whom can go without air for up to 12 minutes and dive up to or down to 300 feet below the surface of water on a single breath. He collaborated with scientific institutions and labs. You get an idea of the volume of his research by the fact that pages 213 to 269 of the book are only notes like citations, references, and more detailed information. Reason number 2, the knowledge gain. It's unbelievable how much is crammed into these 240 pages. Let me talk about the novelty of the information it contains. You get to read about people and things that you could never imagine, inspiring things. For example, you read about Katharina Kross, a German physiotherapist who herself developed scoliosis or a curvature of the spine as a teenager. She was unhappy and dissatisfied with the corsets that she was forced to wear. She used something called orthopedic breathing for 5 years to completely cure herself of scoliosis. She spent the next 60 years bringing her techniques to hospitals all over Germany and beyond. Initially, she was derided by the German medical community for her unconventional methods. But later in life, the German government awarded her the Federal Cross of Merit for her contributions to medicine. You read about the importance of chewing on the development of the bones of your face and nasal cavity and expansion of your airways. You read about how eating good food that makes you chew properly for at least an hour a day can help you breathe more easily at night. Even though your other bones may stop developing, your facial bones can still develop and change even into your 70s. You read about Dr. Mike Muse and a method called mewing. You can call it facial exercise if you like, but besides helping you breathe easy and correcting facial posture, it can also help you develop a strong, chiseled jawline even as an older adult. You can look it up on YouTube. Just make sure to look for mewing tutorials by Dr. Mike Muse himself if you want to give it a try. These are only the tip of the iceberg. I took 4 days to read this compact book because I kept looking up stuff based on what I was reading, and I was fascinated by the amount of new, interesting information that I came across because of this book. Reason number 3, ease of reading. This is an unequivocally scientific book, but it's written in easily accessible, understandable layperson's language. Of course, you'll find some medical terms being used, but most of them are common knowledge, and the difficult ones are explained in the book itself. The beauty of Nestor's writing is that he neither assumes that the average reader would know scientific terms, nor does he talk down to you. And his style is entertaining. For example, during the Stanford experiment, the doctor grabs a steel needle with a wire brush at the end about the size of a mascara brush. I'm thinking, he's not going to put that thing up my nose. A few seconds later, he puts that thing up my nose. You have to laugh at the way he writes, even about what could be serious stuff. And don't worry, his nose was anesthetized in that particular incident. The way the book is written, it makes science entertaining and easy to understand even for the layperson. If you've ever been intimidated by science books, read this book to know that it's not your fault. What we need are more good science writers. Number 4, innovative approach. If you're an Indian, you've probably attended at least a dozen yoga classes and read a dozen books on yoga and pranayama. So why should you read another book on breathing? Because throughout the book, I kept having aha moments, even about things I already know or have read about. For example, he says in one place that humming increases the release of nitric oxide in the nasal passages by 15-fold. And that nitric oxide is a powerhouse molecule that widens capillaries, increases oxygenation, and relaxes the smooth muscles. Brahmari pranayam, anyone? Unless you're a medico or a yoga instructor or a serious practitioner of yoga, you are not likely to have studied any of these things in depth. He gives you a new way of looking even at old things that you already know. Plus, it brings together information from all over the world. It's not just about ancient traditions, but also about cutting edge research happening all over the world. You'll even read about apps that help you practice breathing techniques sitting on your sofa at home. And most importantly, number 5, inspiration. About 2 days after I started reading the book, I once again began doing pranayam after a long time. It's been 4 days and so far I've managed to do it daily. I'm not naive enough to think that that means I'm set for the rest of my life. That takes discipline. But some books have the ability to motivate you and push you into action, and this is one of them. What you do further depends on you, but if you need a push to do something for your health, read this book. It is also full of practical tips and advice that you can implement instantly. I would love for you to read the book cover to cover on your own, but I will still read out one of the most important practical points the book makes regarding your breath.
Quote, unquote.
The perfect breath is this. Breathe in for about 5.5 seconds. Then exhale for 5.5 seconds. That's 5.5 breaths a minute for a total of about 5.5 liters of air. You can practice this perfect breathing for a few minutes or a few hours every day to help your body perform at peak efficiency. In the book, there is much more interesting information and background about the how and why of it, but for that you'll have to read the book. I just had to share this simple but effective tip with you. Now let's see how the book fares on our LINEDSCAPE book rating system.
LINEDSCAPE Rating.
Today, all the different parameters are rated 7 to 10. The overall score is 92 over 100, which makes it a 5-star book. I need to clarify that I've taken characters as the different people he writes about, and aesthetics is 7 because the font is thin and tiny, which is irritating and inconvenient. If you want to know more about my LINEDSCAPE book rating system, follow the link up there right now. Now it's time to put my thoughts
In a nutshell.
Breath is a non-fiction popular science book by James Nestor. It was published in 2020 by Penguin Life. This is a book that has the potential to change the way you breathe and therefore have a huge impact on your health and fitness. Whether you're an athlete, a sedentary office goer, a trekker, a swimmer, a singer, an asthma patient, or you suffer from anxiety or panic attacks or not. Basically, if you're a living, breathing human being interested in living at optimum health, this book is for you. 280 pages long, paperback, hardcover, and Kindle formats. Audiobook is on Audible. I first bought the audiobook, but then I also bought the paperback because this is a book worth keeping in your library. The link to buy the book is in the first pinned comment and in the description. If you read nothing else this year, I recommend you read this 5-star book for the sake of your own well-being. If you liked this episode, please give me a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell icon, and share with your friends and family. This is Asavri signing off for now. Until the next time, have fun under the reading lamp. Switch on, read on.